All right. Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful Friday. And for those of you who weathered the cold to go to the Twins home opener yesterday, you guys are true Minnesotans. And it's great to have baseball, though, huh? It gives you a feeling of spring, even if the weather doesn't want to cooperate. That's what you got to deal with here. So, anyways, welcome to this presentation on FISASCORE. And my name is Jordan Darling. I am grateful that you're joining me today, and I'll do my best to make this time valuable for you and answer any questions that you might have. We'll have some time at the end to answer some questions. So feel free to put any questions you have throughout this presentation, throw them into the chat box. I probably won't get to them till the end, and we'll get as many as we can in the time that we have. So let's get going. So do you know how some businesses, they spend money on information security or their technology, but they're unsure what their greatest risks actually are? We can put it another way. If you had only $1 to spend on information security, what would you spend it on? If you're not sure, you're not alone. We help businesses like yours know the answers to questions like that, and leverage them to make the best decisions possible when it comes to information security. Okay. In the next 30 minutes, I'm going to show you how you can have more peace and confidence that you're spending the right amount in the right places based on your risk tolerance level. Okay. I'm going to do this by sharing with you 10 reasons why you should know your FISA score. You're probably aware of this global concern of cybercrime, basically because it's been exploding in media coverage over the last few years. I mean, every day you hear something new, and well, it's not new anymore. I mean, you hear a new company facing the same issues, and but maybe you're like me and my clients, and you're curious how this applies to us and what reasonable options are available for small business, without just throwing money blindly at the problem. Did you know that according to National Cybersecurity Alliance, more than 70% of attacks target small business? And a study done by the Aberdeen Group shows that businesses with 1,000 employees or less have 90% likelihood of having a data breach costing them more than $216,000. Now, I don't know about you, but that would put a dent in my plans for sure. One reason that SMBs are targeted is because of their lack of preparedness in understanding their risks. Okay, they're low-hanging fruit and they're less labor-intensive to breach. And I know that we all kind of think that, well, we're too small. I don't have a whole lot of stuff. What would they want from me? But even there's a lot of stuff that they would want from you that they might find valuable. And even if we assume that you don't have anything valuable that they could exploit, a lot of times they use a small business who might have a relationship or something with a larger firm. And so they might breach a smaller company and try to pivot to someone that you're doing business with and to get a bigger payday. But knowing your FISA score will provide you the information you need to know what your risks are and to be prepared and only spend money where you see the greatest threats and impacts. But before we get into the 10 reasons to know your FISA score, what is FISA score? Okay, technically the FISA score is the numeric value cumulative high risk score assigned to your company based on an information security assessment report, FISA. The score range will indicate critical vulnerabilities, control strength inefficiencies, and applicable threats to the security of your company. Put in a more simple way, it basically is a single measurement to understand your complex world of information security. It'll bring you clarity and focus and really allow all members of an organization to quickly and confidently understand their risks to information security. But a few definitions are in order here. So FISA stands for Fiducial Information Security Assessment. Fiducial meaning taken as a standard of reference. And information security we define as the application of administrative, physical, and technical controls to protect the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information. And assessment meaning an action or instance of making a judgment about something. So you'll see that the FISASCORE scale is similar to a credit score, okay? It's calculated in a range from 300 to 850, and the lower the score, the higher the risk, and vice versa. And so it'll answer some of those questions like, what are your most significant risks? And if you only had $1 to spend on information security, what would you spend it on? Okay? And questions like that will just really help you, put you in a good position to make good decisions for your company. So are you curious what your score might be? We'll now get into the 10 reasons why you should know your FISA score. You ready? Let's do it. Reason number 1, FISA score is easy to understand. So making complicated things easy to understand is a huge benefit, okay? My 2-year-old son is dealing with some food allergy issues. And so I have to check the ingredients on all the food items when I'm shopping at the grocery store now. And it can be really challenging to read through all these ingredients and try to determine if the item has tree nuts in it, you know? So I appreciate it when companies make it easy by clearly stating at the bottom of all the ingredients something that says allergy information may contain tree nuts. You know, it's clear, it's to the point, it's easy to understand. And it'll save me time, money, and in this case, my son's life, possibly. So in the same way, being able to simplify the information to quickly and easily understand your most significant security risks is very helpful to your business. You know, information security is a complex discipline and with many moving parts. But FISASCORE simplifies that communication about how your information security program is performing. And you know, you won't have to be an expert with years of experience to get to understand what FISASCORE is telling you. Okay, which is going to be a great benefit to business executives, board members, stakeholders, regulators, and insurers. And you know, it's going to be a simple number to represent your overall risk, and broken down into 4 phases to communicate where your most significant risks are. Okay. The magic number is 660. So generally that is the score that we would be looking for to achieve what we would call an acceptable level of security. But it's easy, makes it easy to understand. Reason number 2, FISASCORE can tell you what everyone else is doing. So one of the most common questions we receive about information security is, what's everyone else doing? You know, and hundreds of organizations now have received their FISA score. And so the database has been building for good fact-based comparisons with other companies. So this can be helpful and help you address the responsibility of due care and due diligence and liability while knowing that there's protection in the herd. Okay, there's kind of this protection of doing what everyone else is doing. Okay. And that can hurt you sometimes too, because if everyone else is doing something and you're not, you know, that can come across as negligence. So knowing what everyone else is doing and kind of comparing your security program with everyone else can really help you when the time comes. So with FISASCORE, then you don't have to wonder what everyone else is doing. It'll tell you where you are compared to everyone else. So for example, this industry comparison page shows you that the average FISA score in this industry is 567.72. and that the sample company has 20.3% less risk in their information security program than programs in other organizations. And here's a recent graph showing the average FISA scores across industries. So you can see on this graph, here's the line for the magic number 660. There's also a line here for the overall average across all industries, which is 557.28. But then it breaks it down into each industry. And you can see what the average FISA score is across all these industries. So you can see how valuable it can be when you're making crucial decisions about where to invest your security dollars, when you are not only looking at your score, but you can compare it to how you measure up with your specific industry. All right, reason number 3. With a FISA score, you can track progress. So they say what gets measured gets done, and that's no different with information security. The FISA score is a point of reference that you should use to track progress and to determine whether risk is maintained within your tolerance. Okay, your information security program and your risks are always either getting better or they're getting worse. They're never staying the same. So you can use FISA score to answer any questions about your progress, your regular reporting, or support for maintaining your information security program. And we typically recommend that you get an assessment at least annually or when a significant change has been made. Okay, and you can do this ad hoc, or you can talk to us about how it can be baked into a service agreement. Reason 4, the FISA score is objective. So the FISA score is maintained by an independent organization, Security Studio. And they don't do any consulting work, and they really have no other purpose but to provide accurate measurements of information security risk. Not only that, but the score itself was built to be objective. So the FISA score is calculated through the measurements of thousands of objective characteristics that take much of the guesswork and opinion out of the equation. Now here at High Tech, it's important as well, since we have a part of our business that clients can use to implement and support the technology projects that come out of this assessment. And so it's important that our assessment procedure is objective. You know, you don't really want a technology company coming in providing you with a subjectively low score in order to scare you into purchasing services, okay? On the other hand, conducting an internal assessment can have a tendency to be biased toward a better score. Do you know the story of the Emperor's New Clothes, where nobody wanted to admit the truth that the emperor was duped and wasn't wearing any clothes at all? You know, you don't want to be in a situation where everyone is telling you how nice your clothes look when in reality you're naked, right? Nobody wins by lying or embellishing an assessment. The most benefit you'll get all around is when you're willing to say, just give me the objective truth and we'll go from there. Reason number 5, the FISA score is credible. It's got to be, right? So the FISA score is credible for the following reasons at a minimum. It was developed over the course of more than 15 years through the work of seasoned information security practitioners. Version 1 of the FISA score was released in 2002, internal only, and now it's in its 5th major release and is available for the first time externally through Security Studio. Also, the FISA score is based on generally well-accepted information security standards. So the criteria for measurement are all referenceable to the NIST cybersecurity framework and its supporting standards like NIST SP 800-53, COBIT, ISO 27001-2013, and CIS-CSC. And not only that, but FISASCORE is used by hundreds of organizations to date, and that's growing fast. So the credibility behind FISASCORE is already solid, and Security Studio is dedicated to continuing to make it better. Reason 6, the FISASCORE represents risk. Whenever I think of risk, I can't help but think of George Costanza.
Reading for the blind.
I take an eye test, I flunk it. The next thing you know, I am swinging to the sweet sounds of risk management.
Chapter 1. In order to manage risk, we must first understand risk. How do you spot risk? How do you avoid risk? And what makes it so risky?
This guy sounds
To
just like me.
understand risk, we must first define
This is
risk.
horrible.
Risk has existed virtually.
Stop it. Shut up.
I love that. So George trying to teach himself risk management there. So you have to understand risk. And risk is the likelihood of something bad happening and the impact if it did. So it looks at the combination of vulnerabilities and applicable threats. And if there's no vulnerability or weakness in a control, there is no risk. If there's a vulnerability in a control without an applicable threat, there's also no risk. And so the FISASCORE represents the analysis of hundreds of controls, thousands of vulnerabilities, and thousands of threats, resulting in likelihoods and impacts of bad events. For example, if your business is located in an area where the threat of an earthquake is low, then your risk score will be low even if your building has a weakness for an earthquake, right? Because though the impact would be higher, the likelihood is low. And so FISASCORE takes all this into account and calculates it into the score. So knowing your risks doesn't mean you have to do anything about it, but you can't make an effective decision if you don't know where your risks are and why. So only when you know your actual risk can you effectively decide whether to accept, mitigate, transfer, or avoid the risk. Effective information security programs are always maintained through risk management. Reason 7, the FISASCORE is comprehensive. Fundamental to the FISASCORE is the definition of information security. We defined that earlier, but here it is again. The information security is the application of administrative, physical, and technical controls to protect the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information. There are 4 phases within the FISASCORE. Phase 1 is administrative controls. Phase 2 is physical controls. Phase 3 is internal technical controls, and phase 4 is external technical controls. So it takes the definition of information security and builds it into the score. Now, all 4 parts of the information security program must work well together. A weakness in one control can lead to a collapse of all the others. CEO of FR Secure, FM Francine, puts it this way. You could have the best firewall in the world, but what good does that do if someone can just walk in and steal the server? Okay. So in the FISASCORE, these phases are segmented into sections, and the sections are further segmented into controls. The FISASCORE report is presented then in a manner that's like pulling back the layers of an onion. Okay, you start high level and you dig into the details as necessary. Number 8, the community. The community for FISASCORE is critical to its success. So the community works to generate FISASCOREs for their clients and then provide feedback for future improvements and considerations. Excuse me. They also participate in enhancement and improvement of the methodology, and they share critical information with each other, and evangelize the need for a common information security language provided by FISASCORE. The FISASCORE community is coordinated through Security Studio, and it consists of growing amounts of IT service and security consulting companies like high tech, CPA firms, and insurance brokers. So one way that this is relevant and valuable is that the FISASCORE was accepted as an underwriting tool for Node International, who is one of the main underwriters of cyber insurance for Lloyd's of London. Cyber liability insurance has been blowing up lately, and it's also complicated to understand. And with a tool like FISASCORE, then you and your insurance broker could be speaking the same language, and you can quickly communicate your security risk to get the most appropriate coverage at the best possible price. And that's kind of the power that can come out of having a strong community and support behind the FISASCORE. Reason 9, FISASCORE is an indicator of future losses. So this is kind of where the rubber meets the road, and trying to use FISASCORE to make good estimates and predictions. So much like a bank would use your FICO score to predict the risk that they're taking by giving you a loan, the FISASCORE, as it evolves, can get you closer to understanding the true losses behind information security incidents and breaches. Okay. FISASCORE will provide the framework for predicting future information security losses accurately and uses the best information available. So today, the FISASCORE is tied to research conducted by the Ponemon Institute for lost data, and we can make some general assessments. And here's an example kind of how it works, okay? So a technology company with a FISASCORE of 683.19 that maintains approximately 100,000 confidential records may expect the following. The ARO, which is the annual rate of occurrence, would be a breach is estimated to occur once every 8.6 years. The exposure factor, or EF, is that a breach would affect an estimated 2.26% of all records, resulting in an annualized loss expectancy, or ALE, estimated at $52,043.85. So taking the FISASCORE and using that to help kind of predict how these numbers would change based on the risk, the same company with a FISASCORE of only 600 may expect an ARO of 5.56 years, an EF that bumped up to 6% of all records, and an ALE of $213,840. So you can see how the FISASCORE can be used to really help you understand what kind of risk you're actually accepting, and how it could affect you financially. Okay. Now there's more work to do to get better sources of lost data in the industry, and we're using FISASCORE and FISASCORE community to continually improve that data collection efforts. And we and Security Studio are taking a lead to obtain good information security breach loss data, so this can get more and more accurate predictions of how this financially impacts you. And finally, reason number 10, FISASCORE is a competitive advantage. So moving away from how we can help use it to predict losses, this is how you could use it to actually grow your business. And I know that there may be many of you where you wouldn't immediately think of information security as a competitive advantage. Maybe you never really considered it because it's just something you've never invested in before, or when you do invest in it, you don't really see what you're getting out of it. Okay, it almost seems like you're just kind of being forced to do this, and it's an expense. But consider this: the FISASCORE is a representation of the efforts that you put into information security, and it's a demonstration that you know where your most significant information security risks are. And so with this information, you can make an objective case to your customers that you take information security seriously, and it's backed by experienced information security experts and a community of partners, and that use a clean methodology. So you can leverage that, you can brag about it, and you can use it to let prospects know your progress in your security program and that you maintain a good FISA score. Also, you can apply it to your vendors, anyone you do business with. If you want to make sure that your vendors aren't, that they're responsible with the information and data that they have. Besides that, now you can invest your information security dollars where they will have the greatest benefit, and that's going to be an advantage for everyone. In the latest Semantic Internet Security Threat Report, they indicated that 1 in 40 small businesses and 1 in about every 2 large businesses are at risk of cyber attack. And really, the ISDR showed that hackers are choosing victims based on revenue, regardless of company size. They don't care what size you are. If you're making money, they're going after you. Couple more stats. I brought up the first 2 earlier, but also 62% of hacked SMBs go out of business within 6 months of a successful attack. Security breaches for SMBs face disrupted business activities by 41%, reduced employee activity by 33%, decreased revenue by 9%, according to the Cybersecurity Trends Report 2017. The average cost of a data breach overall will exceed 150 mil by 2020. Hackers attack every 39 seconds, affecting 1 in 3 Americans each year. Since 2013, there are 3,809,448 records stolen from breaches every day, which is 158,727 per hour, 2,645 per minute, and 44 every second of every day. Now, listen, I'm not really trying to end this presentation with a doom and gloom, depression kind of a thing. I don't even think I need to share these kind of stats with you. It's out there. Unless you've been living under a rock, breaches are happening all the time from places that you won't even expect. But so by now, you should realize that the threat is real and that it's at our doorstep. And in many cases, we, as SMBs, are the target. And so it's not really about how long you can get by without a breach. It's about making good, responsible decisions today with accurate information about your risks and deciding the best practices that you want to put in place that will decrease your risk to a level that you accept. And if an incident should occur, you want to be prepared for the best possible outcome after that. Knowing what you're going to do and how you're going to respond when something happens will help minimize effects of an incident and allow you to just better sleep at night, which we could all use, And FISASCORE is where it starts. What should I do? You start here. FISASCORE. Know your risks so you can make good decisions. And how do I get started? You can start with what I would recommend is that you schedule a free FISA pre-assessment. No obligation, just get together and answer some more questions. The pre-assessment will just go over some basic information about your business, and it'll help. We'll choose which FISA assessment is right for you, and talk about how the process works and what you can expect for that. And then step 2, schedule the official FISA assessment. So you can schedule these things by reaching out to us at FISA@hightechsecure.com. And when you do that, put hashtag 10 reasons in the subject and that'll help us know that you were at this webinar, and you'll get 10% off of a FISA assessment if you should go forward with it within this month. All right, I rushed through all 10 of those. So if you have any questions, feel free to type them into the chat bar, and I'll do my best to answer them right now. I think we got a little bit of time. All right, here is one. It says, does it meet HIPAA regulatory requirements? Yes, it does. It also will meet SOX Financial and NCUA credit union regulation requirements. So yes, you can use it for those. Is that it? Oh, how much time does it take? Well, that depends on your size and the type of FISA assessment, but it could take about 8 hours to conduct an assessment. About 8 hours if you're less than 50 employees, doing like a small business assessment, or up to 30 hours for larger companies or a full assessment. And the results can be delivered in about 1 to 2 days for a smaller SMB assessment, or up to 3 weeks for a larger full assessment. I'll wait just a little bit. Is that no more questions? All right, well, thank you for joining the webinar. Here's my information again. Please connect with me on LinkedIn, and or you can email me if you have more questions that you think of later at jordan@hightechsecure.com. Give me a call. Or schedule a free FISA pre-assessment if you have questions that come up and you just want to talk through how it looks and how it works, and we'll get together and do that. But yeah, thank you guys for your time. Appreciate it, and hopefully the snow will be gone the next time we chat. All right. Thank you.